What's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight's topic, dating without desperation. Here's how.
Yeah. Well, desperation, of course, can be a total turnoff to potential spouses, people you're dating. So it can come off as like clingy or maybe obsessive or needy. It's a lot of different ways that desperation can really come off in a relationship or dating in general. So it's really important that you can figure out how to keep that in check. This was kind of really inspired by a question that was entered in, and it's really good because it's actually not so much that she's saying she's desperate, but to me, it kind of reeks of just really, really wanting to be in a relationship and how that can come off.
Mm-hmm.
And although all the intentions may be good, it's really important not to demonstrate that so much, like inwardly you can have that inner struggle, right? I can imagine having that inner struggle as a single person, so I totally get that part, but yeah, let's dig on into this letter and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so Instagram, of course, every night we always say this. Tune in on YouTube if you want to see our question as we go along. But of course, we'll keep you updated as we go along.
Yeah, and then also too, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share as well on Instagram and YouTube if you're following along.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So, subject dating. I'm in my early 30s and I'm broke. I'm fine with this. The job I chose doesn't pay a lot. Life is expensive, plus I have a mental illness. I try to budget, but sometimes it just doesn't stretch, no matter what I cut out. I pay my rent, but sometimes it cuts close. My phone is constantly on and off, etc. But I do consistently work. I feed myself and I don't depend on anyone else or anything like that. I'm conventionally attractive, nothing special. I'm educated, fun, and I'm a nice person. I don't have a car or a home or a savings account like some people. I love to get married and have kids, but most people just seem to want to hook up. So I kind of gave up on that. I don't know if it's the guys I'm meeting, but dating has been pretty depressing, and so have been my relationships. Guys can be pretty mean about me not having money or judgy if I do get a bit and want to buy, sorry, myself something. I'm not an expensive date. I don't expect partners to pay for me, but once they found out about my financial situation, I guess they assumed that. My last relationship was super exhausting. It got thrown in my face all the time that I was broke, and sure, we could get married, but my financial situation was going to need to be resolved first. But it's super hard to escape the cycle of poverty, and the kind of work I do is low paying. I want to date and get a boyfriend, somebody, but every dude seems to care about credit scores, debts, and what job you have, etc. Should I just move to the hookups? They normally don't care, right? I would love to date and meet someone, but it's hard to date when you are poor, I guess. Should I just
Ma'am,
move to hookups? Woo.
Oh man, I wish we could talk to this female.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that's going on here that are wrong. And let's digest and dissect this letter instead of me jumping to the conclusion of what's really going on. So she's in her 30s and she's broke. Now understand this. Well, I don't want to jump there yet. I'm gonna try to save it till the end. And she doesn't make a lot of money. Okay, next, we get all that. She's tried to budget. Mm-hmm. She's living paycheck to paycheck. Average. This is average, typical American, whether it's female or man. I mean, man or female. But sometimes it doesn't stretch. She's talking about work and money again. So money is a real big issue.
Yeah. And to me, it's kind of, in a way, I wonder why she just her mindset is like, oh, I'm just, she's in like this whole broke mindset. Like, when it really kind of, in a way, doesn't have to be looked at that way per se. Like you said, she is early 30s, average, it's typical. Like people, I guess maybe the
Right.
comparison, right? Maybe who is she comparing herself to somebody like where she feels like she's like broke or whatever? Like
No, she's setting the stage up because what she's saying is that if you go on later, that men are not choosing her because she's broke.
right, and I
But
don't
that
think
ain't that
yeah.
ain't it. But let's
Yeah.
get there. That ain't it. Yep. But go forward again.
Oh yeah, okay.
And she's saying she's attractive. That's questionable.
Conventionally attractive. Okay.
I question that because usually women who are broke, but they are gorgeous, they're pretty, they can find a man who can give them some money somehow. But it seems like as you continue to read on that she make it seem as if guys are not choosing her because she's broke.
Maybe because the last relationship.
She wants to have children. She wants to get married. She needs to focus on that. Don't worry about your current situation. Move forward. And then she said all they want to do is hook up. Ma'am, you're choosing the wrong men. You're choosing boys. You're choosing guys who don't have any intention on building a relationship with you. And she's saying that the dating that she's doing is pretty depressing. And she wants a relationship.
Right. And this is probably where I'm thinking where you're saying, she's dating boys in particular if they're always just worried about, money and hookups
Right.
and stuff.
Real man is not interested in your money. Now, he may be interested in your debt. That's what a real man is interested in. Because if he's going to take you on, then he knows that possibly I'm going to have to help you pay your debts.
Right.
And it's not about how much money you have.
Or having a car or home or a savings account. I mean, I get all of that. Those are things that when you're talking about being a responsible adult, and I guess by 30, you are supposed to be somewhat people would coin a responsible adult. So those would be some of the things that you would assume.
Right. Because, don't get it wrong. In America now, these days, you don't really be comfortable as far as finances until your 40s.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Right.
And that means you're stopped living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
So continue.
And I mean, for a woman, like she's saying, whatever she chose, hopefully she's happy within that at least.
She said that.
Right. And that's probably the main reason. I think that's okay as a woman in particular with aspirations of wanting to be a wife. Not so much how much money you make per se, but if you are in a happy mindset, I think that really matters. But that's what I don't see too much here, which is kind of alarming because I would want to see more of the happy mindset or outlook on life, because in particular it's very gloomy. And I get it, maybe she mentioned a mental illness in the beginning, so that could be a broad range of things, but in particular looking at things in such a negative way because how does she know for sure that these guys don't just want her for money or whatever? And that's kind of what we're going to get into a little later. But
I mean, that's, you can only go off of what she said, and that's what she said. Is that they are judgy if you
pretty mean about her not having
money. Yeah. What guy cares about your money is a broke man. A broke man himself cares about your money.
Right.
You continue to go again. Myself, I'm not an expensive date. I don't expect partners to pay for me. But once they find out about my financial situation, I guess they assume that. Okay.
But it's because they can't. In my opinion, pay for her or her date,
right,
or
exactly.
like they're just like because that goes again back to what I'm saying about her broke mindset and just having that it's attracting broke men. So these broke men are looking at you like
it's not more so her mindset is what's attracting. She's choosing to date these men and entertain them as well. Mm-hmm. So that is something that's setting her up for failure, is the fact that she's choosing all these broke men. And realistically, ma'am, you can't, that's not their fault. That's your fault, because you're choosing these same type of people over and over again in which you're hooking up with. Stop hooking up with these broke men, because one of the last things that you need is to have a child with these broke men that you're having issues with. That brings about a whole nother problem. But kudos to you if you haven't said you had children, but good job not trying to trap these broke men.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Um,
And she's out of her last relationship, which she said was, exhausting here. So, like you were saying, at least she's recognizing it and
well, the more important thing is that he threw that in her face too, that she was broke. And
right.
sure, we could get married, but my financial situation was going to need to be resolved first. And that's understanding. That's understood too. You see, another thing is that if you're dealing with a man, in that case, he doesn't want to deal with your debt, then so be it. Then you have to
Yeah.
go on and find someone else, because that's something that you're having to struggle with. But understand that a real man who makes real good money doesn't give a damn about your debt. Don't care
Right.
about your debt, because he can help you pay that. And then also too, if you bring value to a relationship and to him, then he knows that it's measure for measure. Okay, I'll pay your debt and you're providing wife duty services for me.
Mhm.
And that is the trade-off.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually more than that too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
certainly. I do too, just because again, the gloomy mindset is
but it's super hard to
off-putting.
escape the cycle of poverty. Yes, because you're choosing not to
To
elevate yourself in any job that you're doing.
right. It
Of
is
course.
not super hard to escape the cycle of poverty without it is though without effort. And certainly with that mindset. It's
And the
just
kind
her
of work
mindset.
I do was low paying. Okay.
Ah.
But that's what you're choosing to do. All of
Right.
this stuff is she's not taking accountability. I'm sorry. She's not taking enough accountability for what she's doing. A lot of people do this today. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
I am a victim
Yeah.
mentality. She's been doing this for so long until she's harbored a victim mentality in which this is what you do not do. This will
Yeah.
get you into bad decision making. A victim mentality will ultimately make you struggle in life
Mm-hmm.
and look at life as if there's always a black cloud over whatever I do.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage. This woman has
Yeah.
sabotaged herself into bad relationships and poverty.
Right, and kept herself there. I mean,
She want to date
yeah.
and get a boyfriend, somebody. Look at it, somebody.
Right.
But
And that's to me, that's where
that's
it
the
reached
problem.
desperation.
It's because
Yeah.
you don't know what your expectations are as far as finding a man. And then also too, if I was to ask you, more than likely they'll probably be unrealistic.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
maybe not.
That is huge. But that is huge. You should know. Never get to the point where you're just saying anybody. And
Right.
that's like having no standards.
But the same thing is that anybody's not working for her. Somebody is not working for her.
Right.
That's the thing. She's stuck. You have to have expectations for yourself and then date with it with intention. Go on these dates, ask these hard questions. And then, if you're seeing a pattern that guys are breaking up with you because you're broke, that needs to be one of the first questions. Look, I don't have a lot of money. Is that an issue with you?
Yeah.
With me being broke? I'm looking for a man who I can work with and we both can build on finances together. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that unless you're dating broke men, ma'am. You need to use your grace. You need to use your feminine qualities and attract a man who has a well-paying job and someone who possibly can support you. My advice to find that type of man is to go to where people work. This is even harder now because a lot of people telework from home. But if you can hang around financial institutions, go downtown where your city is, hang around these finance institutions, walk the sidewalks and find men who wear suits. And if you find a man who's willing to talk to you and engage with you, talk to you, exchange phone numbers, because and find out if make sure he's not married, and then you may have a husband and someone who is able to financially help you or give you some financial advice. I don't know.
To be honest, if I'm being honest, I even think that would be a super huge stretch, just because it really, those type of men that she is looking for.
She's attractive though, she says. If she is who she's
conventionally attractive still, but you're conventionally attractive in your 30s, you're not that 8, 9, or 10 that you once were. Like once you've hit that point, then you have still
I understand
gone down
that.
in attraction.
But you got to understand this too, that a lot of working men a lot of working men don't date a lot now these days. Now these
Yeah,
times.
no, and it's certainly, but that was just my only thing with going during like the day, because they are working, like, so it would be a lot harder for you to get man who's on his purpose attention when he is actively working.
Well,
Or
I mean, you
within
may
the
not know he might be actively looking for a wife too. That's the thing.
but
So
that was just my only thing though, like, just, if he is working, I personally think that you should really work a lot on yourself and your self-esteem to get you to the point to where you exude wife. Nothing from this woman exudes wife, so to me, I can't see at this state where she's at her even attracting a husband or that caliber of man, just because she's not exuding those qualities at all. I personally would work a lot on mindset. For one, here you're just like, oh, should I just move to hookups? And I mean, even that goes right along with here. I just want to date and get a boyfriend. That is really setting yourself up for failure, because it's not what you want. You really want a husband. You really want a man who is not worried about your finances, who would accept you for who you are and love you and care for you. So, in order to get to that space, it's super important that you have already, in a way, calibrated to that yourself prior to getting this man. Because you don't want just anybody to date. You really do want to make sure that you're putting your intentions out before you even getting into the dating market, that, hey, I want a husband. I'm not going to just settle for somebody or anybody or
right.
any man.
I'm assuming the reason why I said that is because I'm assuming that she's dating people that's in her environment. More than likely that
Possibly
men in her environment more than likely probably don't wear suits and ties and have a purpose like you're talking about. So that's
right.
Other than, she's talking about they worry about is credit scores, debts, and with what jobs you have, etc. So that means that if they're not, I mean, that's interesting though, because guys that she's dating are saying that they care about credit scores. They must have been watching our movies. I mean, our videos.
I mean,
Credit
no, well,
scores,
that's
debts,
a common.
what jobs?
That is a
you have.
common thing that you should be checking
Oh
for.
yeah,
That's
most
the part
definitely.
where I that's why I say, like, I don't think that it's so much that per se, but just mentality wise, it's not coming off as wife, as feminine, as ready to actually take on that role. Yeah, I really think you have a lot of more inner work to do for there.
Right.
Because to be honest, you should be to the point where you have at least known your credit score and you know your debts and the kind of job you are. And I think it's great that you stated in the beginning that you accept that. But when you have accept that, you don't just leave it be. You look to improve and help and, elevate yourself. That's ultimately what a relationship will help you do. When you get into a relationship, you want to improve, you want to get better, you want to not stick to those maybe single habits that you once had. And that's why also I make note of the fact that the guy, he would always bring up, her financial, habits, situation, or that needing to be resolved, or whatever the case may be. I just think it's important that even if you are dating a guy and he is recognizing, hey, you should work on this, I want to work on this,
That's
or
what I was
whatever,
saying.
you need to also be doing that.
Right.
Not, and
Right.
that's the issue to me. It's not even meeting the guy. I think she can meet the guy, but she just wouldn't even know what to do with the guy. So to me, the issue is more so just her. She has, you have a lot more work on yourself to do before you can even reach the point of knowing what to do as a wife, or like just to operate within that mindset and that mentality. Like, from the whole beginning, it's just got to be scratched and thrown out, and you really got to go back to, I want to be a wife, I want to have a husband, this is what I want it to look like, and this is how I'm going to move differently so I can get that.
Understood. But that's what I was saying, was that if she's going to get in a relationship with someone, she needs to show him, and if these guys consistently say question her finances, she needs to find someone who is financially fit, and then so that she can learn those qualities, if that is what she's truly coming in across with. But I find this very hard because usually attractive people are able to hold relationships.
Not if you ain't got no relationship skills.
Because Yeah,
She
I
said
mean,
conventionally attractive too, like nothing special. So that again to me reeks of low self-esteem. Um, she did say I'm educated, fun, and I'm a nice person.
but she's
Right,
average. That's what she's saying.
right, right.
Everything about this woman is average.
Right, and that's fine. Also, too,
Right,
that's a
that's fine.
mindset though. Like that's simply a mindset. You can be average and still know that you're great. And it's nice that you say you're educated, I'm nice, and I'm a fun person. All that is cool. Don't just then retreat back to the negative of focusing on your negative things about yourself. That to me will really put a person off.
You know what I think what it really is that she's needy.
Yeah, this is the desperation. Yeah,
I
and
think
that's what really
because she doesn't have a car and she doesn't have money. What's going on here is that she's asking these guys for these things, and that's what's turning them off about her.
You think?
Yes, because these guys that she's probably talking to are also probably they have their own lives, and they're probably also dealing with other people. So with that being said, if she's just talking, calling them, hey, I need a ride to the store. Are you available? 1 week, and then next week happens again. It becomes annoying. I've seen this happen before, dealing with people, dealing with men and women and young and they're dating, kind of not really in a relationship, having casual intimacy, and then the female always need a ride somewhere, especially the fact she has a job. What's happening is that if she's in these relationships, she's asking these guys for a ride to work and probably doing it consistently until the guy is probably like, look, I'm tired of this. You need to fix your financial situation, and your financial fix is not me. That is what's going on, and she's not being truthful about this in this letter.
Yeah, and that's probably men her age as well.
Exactly.
Too, younger,
yep.
maybe.
Yep, I've seen this happen multiple times in my lifetime. And then it's common. This is very common.
Well, then that goes right back to what I said of it's now more important than ever that you work on yourself so that you put yourself in a better position when you're dating. Because this just reeks, going back to our topic, reeks of desperation. And it's super important to date without desperation. So that means even if you are desperate, like a statement of, should I just move to hookups when you want to be married,
right,
and you want to have a family? That, before you go there, it's important to get yourself into a place where you're not coming off desperate. Now, what do we mean by that? So we are going to get into some bullet points on what desperation would look like in a relationship. Some signs that you may be coming off as desperate. Can you guess number one?
Being too negative. So if you're consistently complaining about your ex, your job, your money, your finances not aligned, your life in general, it can make you seem like a downer. People normally don't like people who are negative.
Yeah.
And that is what's annoying these guys, is the fact that, oh, I'm broke. Yeah. I need a ride to work. Next day, I need a ride to work. Next day, I need a ride to work. And then all of a sudden, you're moving yourself into these guys' homes without any conversation or that. Yeah. And then ultimately what happens is you get dumped. Because like, dude, like, the guy's roommate, like, yo, why is she still here? Why is she still here? What's going on?
Yeah.
So these are common situations, especially with young women who come out of college, come out of high school, maybe also as well. They're out in the world with no resources. Yeah. And it's just a real situation. This happens to average people.
But that negative mindset, though, and perspective, though, is what
is draining.
Reeks of desperation in a relationship. It is so off-putting, especially when you're trying to find a potential spouse. So being too negative, you really have to try to look on the positive side, even though it can look glim and gloom. And it's kind of like when it goes with the question that we had, she would go from one positive thing about herself right to a negative thing about yourself. And it kind of makes the positive thing go null and void, right? Like it just like cancels it out. And so that's not very attractive. It doesn't make that person see you in a positive light either. So yeah, that could be totally off-putting. Focus on the good things in life. That's really more attractive about it all.
And then being too clingy.
Yeah.
If you're consistently texting or calling the other person, or if you need something from them all the time, that's what I was just saying. It's very overwhelming. And you could be 2 weeks into a relationship with someone, and then you're always over their house. Relationships normally do not start off that way. Ultimately, sometimes that's the beginning of the end, especially when you first meet someone. And you don't have any resources or any ride to work or whatever the case may be. So it's important to give that person some time and space and let them miss you, especially if you're all first starting out.
And I feel like they have to take care of you right away or do so many things.
On average, people date, homogamous, meaning that you date someone around your age, your finance, tax bracket, or what have you. So on average people are dating average people. Your finances look the same. If you just met somebody and you're drawing all of you're drawing into their resources, you're drawing their time, their money, their space, living space, they're going to get tired of you, especially if you're not contributing at all. Now in these times, I've heard that young women are not cooking and cleaning. The most that you need to be cooking and cleaning if you're doing all of this stuff and you're living with a man who's not your husband, and they're giving you rides to work, free rides to work, and feeding you and sheltering you. You need to learn wife qualities. You need to learn how to uplift this man and inspire this man so that he puts a ring on your finger, not become a nuisance, not become a point of frustration for this man.
Right.
And it can easily happen, especially when you all are dating your peers and people around your same age. I'm guessing that she's in her early 30s, which, like I said before, you haven't reached your apex of making money. But the problem is that she's not trying to increase that, which is fine. But that means you need to be all sold on trying to find a husband in which you need to gain some sort of wife qualities. Those skills in which that will attract a man to want to put a ring on your finger.
Right, because a feminine woman is a feminine woman who knows her worth and is confident in her ability to do her job and play her position, is certainly going to attract a masculine man ready to do the same. That's the whole issue with that question that the woman wrote in, is that she is just reeks of not knowing herself, not loving herself, not being confident and ready to take on these roles. Of course, you want these things and you may cling to the idea of being a mother and being a wife and stuff like that. But unless you are really doing the work that it takes to get your mind there and even in a way get yourself in a better appealing position financially for a man to want to take on, it's like kind of just wishing on a star. So anyways, yes, being too clingy is certainly one clear sign that you're coming off desperate within your relationship and it's not going to really grow. So
too eager. If you're consistently talking about how much you like the other person or how much you want to see them again, it can come across as desperate. So you want to take things slow and let the relationship develop naturally. So doing these things too early in a relationship may freak people out. So don't do that. Don't be too clingy in the beginning of the relationship and saying that you're my husband. After the first week of relationship, because men find that very confusing. We find that very weird. For you to say that, oh, I'm your husband, and I haven't even proposed to you. This has only been the first week. You need to grow up, mature, as a woman first before we can consider marriage.
Yeah, eager. It's all right to know that you want to be a wife and you know that, you're ready to take on that role, but don't just be so eager to be like, oh, you man, like that, and cling to,
No, you just
like
need
you
to let the
man
guy
now.
know
Like,
that, hey, I really like you. I really enjoy your company. I really
yeah,
do. And
and
then,
play it cool after that.
right, a
Yeah.
lot of eye contact, touching, you
Mm-hmm.
know, holding hands and stuff like that.
Right.
Hugs. You don't have to, kiss all, um, on the first date or whatever the case may be. You can if you want to, but just be, reserved about it. Slow
Mm-hmm.
down a bit.
Yeah. Don't get too excited. Another one, being too focused on the future too soon. So that kind
That's
of
what I was
goes,
saying.
yep, right along what we were talking
I've
about.
I've heard this multiple times. You're my husband. Oh, that's my husband right there. My boo, my man, or whatever the case may be. No, this happened to a lot of guys who got it going on.
Yeah.
So when because a lot of I understand, I get it. A lot of you all women out there, you all
Want to be saved.
right. You want to be
Yeah.
saved. You done chose the path of career development, and you done missed the boat, and you
Yeah.
forgot that. Oh man, I need a man in order to start a family.
Or
I
unfortunately
need
got
children.
involved with the wrong guy or something like
Right.
that.
You
Yeah.
kept choosing wrong men, those
Yeah.
Pookies and Ray Rays over and over again, in which you've realized that time done passed. Looking at oh, I'm 35. What I done missed out. And then now you have to adapt to your current situation and find the best way in order to find a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that you may have, some people say, quote unquote, hit the wall, or you're in the danger zone as far as finding a man. You just have to adapt and then go with the best probabilities on the type of man that you can
Mm-hmm.
attract.
Yeah.
They're not always going to look like what you may think in your head. You're
Right.
just going to have to be comfortable with that.
Or do what you think they may do. I mean, I like that perspective of adapting. That's super important, especially as you get older. You have to adapt to life anyway. So your dating scene may change, and that is going to require you to move a little different, do a little things differently than you would have, in your 20s or whatever. So,
Right. It's
yeah.
easier when you're younger,
Mm-hmm.
women. So if ladies, if you all want husbands, find your husbands when you're in your early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want families, you really want to have children, try
Yeah.
your best to get married in your 20s to a man who is a provider and a protector for you,
Yeah.
because it gets harder as you grow older, and when you age,
Mm-hmm.
you may miss the opportunity of having children, but you can still have a husband.
Yeah. Yep. Another one is you're too focused on getting what you want. So you're just like, I need you to give me this, just the way I like it. And that's just how it has to be. That is going to come off like so desperate because you're just not even thinking about the relationship or having a relationship with another person. You're just being selfish and trying to get, what you want from it. And that is going to reek of desperation. It is.
Most definitely. Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be off-putting too. And whether that's you're wanting a relationship really bad or sex really bad or any type of ulterior motive as to why you're pursuing this person, if you go into it with this is what I want, I gotta get this, then it's just gonna come off desperate, and the other person isn't gonna get the chance to see you for who you are, and instead they're just gonna see you for what you trying to get for them, and because that's what it is, you're trying to get something from them. So yeah, don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're finding yourself exhibiting any of these behaviors, it is important to take a step back and review yourself. You need to chill out. But here are 7 details and tips for dating without seeming desperate.
Yeah.
So this is what you actually need to do. So these are the do's. Number 1, be confident. Confident in who you are.
Yeah.
And what you can provide as far as a relationship.
Yeah.
And you need to also max out your potential. So those skills, ultimately dating means that you're providing, either you're going to be a husband and provide husband services, or either your wife and you're going to provide wifely services. So you need to hone those skills and make them so good that it's hard for who you're dating. It's hard for them to want to leave you.
Yep, that's so true.
That's the secret on maintaining those long lasting relationships. Because believe it or not, love is not only the thing that keeps relationships going, it is the other services that you provide for your spouse that keeps you all together as well. Because love alone doesn't pay bills. Now, if I could love my wife to the moon and back, but if I'm not working and providing money to our household, she has every right to leave me if I'm not wanting to work.
No, I don't, but
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I just look at you, honey, and be like, look, I ain't working no more.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And I just be lazy around the house.
We would have to.
That's a crisis situation.
Right.
There's something going on. And I just clocked out and don't even care anymore. So she has every right to leave me because I'm not providing for her. This comes out of the blue. Things like that.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, the spouse has to definitely make sure to keep doing their part and playing their part. And that's key to being confident this is why it's key to be confident in order to do that long term. Because you want to know that, hey, I have put my abilities to the test. I'm ready to commit to this, service-based position that I'm going to play in this relationship, and that's just what you're going to do. So you want to be confident in your ability to do that long term. And that means, in particular, when I think back to this question, that means that this girl has to really get her mindset there, because confidence isn't on the spectrum of low self-esteem. Like, you can't have low self-esteem and be confident. You can fake it, but it's only gonna last so long. So it's super important that you're building your self-esteem before you get into a relationship. Build up who you are, what you have to offer, what you're good at. Like my husband said, sharpen those skills, make yourself even better at them. That's really going to help your dating potential as well, because you're going to look at life brighter and you're going to appear in life brighter. And that's super important. That thing in general, first off, minus attraction wise, your just overall demeanor and personality will really determine if a person is going to like you or not, because, it's like your next appearance in a way. Because they first see your first appearance of who you look like. Yeah. And then your next one is with your mindset. Yeah. Yeah. And how you think. And if you ain't, if you're not there, it can be very unattractive. So believe in yourself, know your worth, and don't be afraid to show it, mainly.
Yep. And then number 2, be comfortable being alone.
Yeah.
Is it important to be able to enjoy your own company before you're healthy in a relationship? So if you're constantly relying on others for entertainment or validation, it will make you seem really desperate. So understand that. So that's what we mean by being comfortable being alone. And you don't always need other people in order to live, make you feel worthy of anything or what have you. Understand that life is about relationships and people.
Yeah, certainly.
That's not what we're saying, but you don't need other people to say that you're good enough.
Yeah, or even I think this can even draw down to the fact of taking care of yourself, making sure that, when we think about being desperate, it can come the aspect of being needy and constantly asking for the other person to do things for you. If you can, in a way, set yourself up so that you're fully able to take care of yourself and at least maintain yourself, to a good degree, to where you're not needing somebody to come in and, you're constantly having their presence be necessary in order for you to thrive and live in life, So just being able to maintain yourself and being comfortable alone, mentally, physically, all of that is going to make a world of difference on how you appear in the dating scene in general. Yeah.
Yep.
Another one, don't text too much. So this, I guess, goes along with the being eager part. I don't know how, it's I guess, a fine line between constantly having to text somebody or they're not responding, like you're not constantly hitting them up over and over and over and over, that eagerness, that of course can be very off-putting. So that's kind of a given, not to, certainly push too much trying to communicate if it's not being reciprocated right away. But of course, making sure to show that you're interested without being clingy. So be willing to text first, call first, ask the person how they're doing, check up on them if they had some special event or something like that. Any little opportunity to check in is certainly encouraged, but don't come off clingy if you know that, this person is doing something at the moment or is not able to get to you. Just avoid doing that. And I guess a lot of that may be for like anxiety based too. If somebody has like anxiety, they're like, this person doesn't hit me back, try to get all of that under control. I think that goes with that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I would prefer calling people instead of texting. Texting is just the quick way to communicate with someone.
Yeah.
You really want to talk over the phone with someone that you're supposed to be dating, but
or in person.
Right, or see them in person, but because you have different flexions in your voice, because during text messages, often at times you may miscommunicate words and things that you may say, which may draw an argument. So it's best to actually use phone call people, especially in the beginning of getting to know somebody, so that you don't have miscommunications on words that you're saying, and they understand you. You need to develop your personality rapport with this person first, and make sure that they understand your personality, and so that in the case you may text something, that they won't automatically think that it's something negative. But yeah, like my wife said, don't text too much, especially if you're a needy, coming off to be needy. Because often at times what happens is that this person is going to be frustrated thinking that you're going to need something. Oh, she needs another ride. Oh my goodness. Or, I got to do this, or whatever the case may be. So I get it. I totally get it. It's hard out here. And then being the fact that she doesn't have a ride to work, she's meeting guys, and then she's wanting the urge to, do you mind driving me to work today, and picking you up? So you're automatically putting the person that you first meet to be somebody like your husband. These are things that a husband does for a wife if she's working, is picking them up in the morning, taking them work in the morning, and picking them up in the evening. Well, that's the reason why a lot of guys are running away from you, man. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that's if they're doing that.
You really need to get a better job, save money, buy a car for yourself, and then take some accountability in that, because you're running men off. And especially the men that you're choosing and picking, that's what's happening. You're running them off.
Yeah. And I think that probably is playing a big part.
It is. I've experienced this,
especially because she's been talking so much about being broke. That's just so off-putting. So I'm just
I've experienced this, to be transparent with you, not once but 3 times. So I know people that needed help, and then it just becomes like, now you're responsible for these people. No, it doesn't. I am not responsible for your irresponsibilities. Be responsible for yourself. Take accountability. Try to make things better for yourself.
Make yourself appear more appealing in the dating scene.
Right. And capable, because you're able.
Yes, because those are qualities that a man looks for in a wife. He's not going to want you to come off looking financially irresponsible, or even looking like you can't orchestrate how you're going to get to and from work without him, or like little things like that. It's super important,
because it's not about the money that a man is. He wants to know that you're able to critically think.
Right. Yeah.
Critically think your way and problem solve.
Yeah.
Doing daily tasks, day-to-day things that normal people automatically do every day. And it becomes a situation to where, wow, I don't think she can, do these things. I don't think so. It becomes questionable. Man start questioning her, her intellect.
Yeah.
Behind that. So,
and that's not a person that you want managing your household at the end of the day.
Right.
A man wants to be confident that, like, hey, if I leave my house, I know my house is gonna be good, and I ain't over here worried about, how things are gonna be because, she's financially irresponsible or mentally incapable of, doing these
Right.
things.
Because continuing the path that she's on, she's going to have to luck up and find a man who's like, you know what, I'm don't worry about nothing. Just come on, move in with me. And
Good
this is going to
luck.
have to be like immediately, because she's showing signs of having that pattern of first date, second week, asking to ride to work, pick me up type deal. And that's the reason why these guys are doing that. So more than likely, ma'am, you're 30. A guy that probably has the patience for this is someone who's probably in their 40s or 50s, to be honest with you. Someone who's older, someone who already has children, someone who's well established, a man who's working.
And you can drive them around in their car.
Right. Precisely. To be honest with you, because it seems as if like you're dating your peers, and these guys are just starting out, getting it, finding themselves and getting it together. You don't want to try to take their resources. You're taking their resources. Gas costs, with this inflation, it's over $3 a gallon, depending on where you at.
Right.
It costs. So if you working, this job where that doesn't pay much, I know you're not paying gas money. I know it. I know she's not paying gas money.
Right.
And then that's the reason why she's hooking up with these guys, because that's how she's bartering.
Or she's saying she wants to hook up. I get her that. She did say she hadn't gotten there yet. She's been in relationships.
No, she said that she's been hooking up with these guys.
No, that she will. Well, yeah, she's in relationships, but she was saying, do I just go to the hookup culture?
Well, she was going to give up.
Yeah.
So
she hadn't gotten there yet, is what I'm saying. But her relationships, they're in those relationships. She's probably certainly, And that's, especially if you're dating guys that are your peers, they want to know, again, that they can build with you, not that you're just going to drain their resources.
I think a lot of young women do this all the time. And it's such a, misfortunate thing, because they're growing up with parents who can't provide them with their first cars and a place to pay their rent. These are females. These are women who are getting it out the mud. Like, they're hustling and they're trying. But my problem with this female is that her job doesn't make ends meet. It doesn't make the ends. She don't have a savings. She can't save up for a car. She's just barely paying rent or what have you.
Yeah, and
she
her
needs to get
mindset
another
of,
job.
and it's fine. I don't care. I mean,
no, it's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fine and okay if you had gotten to the point where you're maintaining a steady, I guess, stream of income that's getting you progressing through life, not just you barely cutting it. Like, she says she's barely cutting it every month. Like, that's not even maintaining your lifestyle at that point. Like, you're just trying to get there. And that's off-putting. Again, that shows a lack of self-love, a lack of self-care.
She needs to work 2 jobs. You should be working 2 jobs in order to, one, pay the current job you have that pay for your expenses now, and then the second job is to pay for a car, is to buy a vehicle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then keep working 2 jobs, because you got to maintain that vehicle. Yeah. And then a man will understand, then you will take less stress off of the man, because I know that you're asking them for rides to work, like I'm saying. And then your relationships will last a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah, but that leads us to number 4. Don't be afraid to let go. So partially, when you don't want to come off as desperate, or even when you are desperate, you would hold on to something when you know good and darn well you don't need to be holding on to that relationship anymore. So that's one thing I will say. Hopefully, she might have been the one to initiate the last relationship ending. I don't really think so. But if she was, at least y'all got out of that relationship because it wasn't working. The worst thing you can do is hold on to something that just is not working because you really, really want love. That's not healthy at all. So don't be afraid to let go if you do happen to see yourself in a situation where you just know it's not meant to be.
Yep. And those guys are probably, I don't think it's her that's letting go. It's those guys that's letting go of her.
Yeah.
because look, they realize like, man, she's wasting all my gas money,
Yeah. And
and
then,
she's over here, again for the fifth day, and she don't cook, and she don't clean. Like, what is going on? Like, why is she?
right.
That's
Yeah.
that's your one way ticket to not see this person again. So don't do things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. I mean, these are things her father should have told her.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And that makes me wonder again, where is your friends and family? But that actually brings us to our next one, spending time with your friends and family. And yeah, where in this particular situation, where is her father? Where are her parents? Just no mention quite of that. No mention quite of like friends or anything like that. And I think that's super important for a person to have a support system around them. I think it gives them a little more confidence that while they're going through life, a little security. So yeah, where is that for this woman?
right, and there's nothing wrong with that. Having a support system of family, just be mindful
Yeah.
not to overwhelm them and take all of what they have in order to advance you yourself. And the
Yeah.
problem is that you're not wanting to advance, so
Right.
it's not even right that you go and ask for more money from your parents or family members or friends.
Yeah.
You also too have to take accountability in your finances and try to do things to elevate yourself from where you currently are. So just be mindful
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, certainly. Because you don't want it to just be like, oh, this is what you're going to get forever. That's quite depressing to even want to take on a spouse with that type of mindset. Like, I'm never going to change. I'm never going to get, I'm just fine the way it is. Nowhere in life is a human programmed to be content with life. It actually goes against evolution. I have been wanting to say that because it does. It goes against evolution, and the whole purpose of a man not getting content is so that he's not letting down his guards to threats of his environment or his surroundings for his survival. So, in this particular situation, this woman has completely gotten content and is not going after the things that are going to better her life and increase her chances of survival.
Right. Well, I mean, she's she don't have that drive. She don't have that
Yeah.
instinct to try to, you know, go out there and get it. She don't care to go get it. So,
Yeah.
it just is what it is. You need to better position yourself so that you don't come off so needy when it comes to men,
Yeah.
and be very reluctant to ask for help from the people that you're dating so early. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
And then number 6, have fun. Yes, have fun. Dating should be fun. So don't take it too seriously. Relax, enjoy yourself, be yourself. The right person will appreciate you for who you are, but but also to do the best that you can to elevate yourself and
Yeah.
take accountability for your
Mhm.
irresponsibilities and make yourself better. Better than the day before.
Yeah.
That's all really what you need to do. um like I said, you have some things you need to work on as far as yourself, and we've given you information in the blueprint on getting yourself in a better position to find a husband. you
Yeah,
know
yeah, certainly. And it all is going to start within, in particular, especially when it's dealing with some type of feeling of being unworthy or feeling of, I need to hurry up. I haven't reached this yet. That desperation, that feeling, it's super important to work on yourself within first. And that's the only way that you're really going to attract that spouse. Yeah.
right, or because what you're currently doing is not working. It's not
Yeah.
working. I don't see why. It's either comfort, or either you stay comfortable, like my wife said, and stay content and keep getting the same results. Blame other people is never
Yeah.
your fault. Or either you
Yeah.
take accountability and say, you know what, you're right. It's my fault. I've been choosing all of these bad decisions, and all of this stuff has been happening to me because
Mhm.
I've been making bad decisions. It's time for a
Mhm.
change. So, you need to pivot, adapt, and learn, and then apply that knowledge into what your next move is, and then move better. You know,
Mhm.
you just can't, stay flipping burgers your whole life. You can't be doing that. You just elevate yourself in some way, in some form of fashion. There's other career paths out there that'll make you more aligned with your goals or whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, but don't long for something if you ain't gonna do the work
for
it.
Yeah, that ain't that's wishing on something without the actions being there. It don't really align. The universe doesn't work that way.
Nah, yeah.
You know,
we're a vibrational universe, so you gotta vibrationally do the things that you need to do to be and accomplish what you want to. Yeah,
precisely.
Yep. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a lot of valuable, great information packed into this 1 hour, pretty much. So there we go again, dropping jewels. This is the Blueprint Family Jewels Show on YouTube. Thank you all for watching. Please share this video. I know you know somebody who needs to watch this. Right. And subscribe to our channel. Have them to subscribe to our channel, because this is very good for young people starting out, man or woman, boy or girl. They need to know this information and understand that starting out in this world by themselves is hard. It is. So whether they go to college or they don't, if you go to college, you have more debt. So what we said in college kids are always broke. We're some of the most finest looking broke people in the world. Got the nicest clothes.
College kids, yeah.
Got the nicest clothes.
Well, that's because mama and daddy, from what I saw, people, mama and daddies was paying for everything.
Exactly.
Because when you get it by yourself, like I did, I didn't care about all that luxury.
But you see the transition, though, the young women who did that, once they get out on their own and they're no longer connected with mom and daddy, they start doing stuff like this. They start relying on some boy for them to try to elevate themselves, in which it doesn't work out well, because that boy himself is trying to become a man, and what's stifling him is some girl that's taking and drawing up all his resources, leeching him his energy, time, money, and all of that. And then it becomes one big argument, and then she's trying to call him turn him into a villain, in which all he's trying to do is elevate himself and find his way. Two people trying to find their own way have two different paths. Often at times their paths separate from each other because they need to learn, like we just said, to be alone. You need to learn and grow in the silence. That means being by yourself and then learning and applying what you've learned to knowledge, wisdom, and then strategize and do something new. So all right, that's our time for the night. Thank you all for coming out. This was fun, and we appreciate you. Like I said before, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, Blueprint family, good night. Peace.
Okay.